Hello and welcome to a math video lesson with Mr. Panza. Today we're going to practice comparing decimals. In the previous lesson, we learned the 4 steps to comparing decimals. Let's review and practice a few. The 4 steps to comparing decimals are right here. Let's review them briefly. Step 1 is to write the numbers on top of each other. And the way you can do that is by setting up a place value chart like I have over here on the right. You can simply just remember your songs. It starts with ones. Right underneath it, it starts with ones. Decimal place value to the right of the decimal, it starts with and. Then the tenths, then the hundredths. It starts with and, then the tenths, then the hundredths. Once you have your place values lined up, you're ready to follow steps 2 and steps 3, which are very similar to adding and subtracting decimals. Here are the 2 steps again.
Line up the decimals, fill in the holes with zeros.
So in this case, I have my example of 5 and 1/100ths compared to 2 and 1/10. So if I had my place value chart all set, the first thing I would need to do is line up the decimal points. My decimal points are going to go here because my place value charts have my whole numbers to the left and my decimals to the right. I'm going to take that first number, 5 and 1/100th, and write it in the place value chart. I'm putting it on top of the number it's being compared to. 2 is a whole number, and 1/10. If there were any spots that looked awkward, you would fill those in with zeros. Now you're ready for the 4th and final step, compare these numbers. So take a look. Let's start all the way on the furthest place value to the left. Meaning if there was a place value further to the left, that's where you would start. The tens, or the hundreds, or the thousands. Whichever is your highest place value to the left in whole numbers is where you start. And in this one, you can compare the ones. Well, in this case, 5 is going to be greater than 2. And you can stop right there. You don't have to worry about the decimal place value in this point because 5 is greater than 2, which means 5 and 1/100th is greater than 2 and 1/10. So to finish up this step, you would create your little alligator sign after rewriting the problem to show that this alligator would munch up the 5 and 1/100th because it's the biggest number. It would sound something like this. Now you can do this with every single example. Whether you have a whiteboard or not, you can use pencil and paper. Just set up your place value chart and get ready to line up the decimals and fill in the holes. For example, if we looked at letter A, 33/100ths, I'd first start with my place value chart and write it in the place value chart. 33/100ths goes on top and 43/100ths goes on bottom. Now that I've lined up the decimals and I can fill in these holes to show that there is nothing in my whole number, I'm ready to compare from left to right the greatest place value. Tenths is the greatest place value in the decimals. It's the first one that compares to each other. And in this case, the 4 is greater than the 3. Think about it. Would you rather have 43/100ths or would you rather have 33/100ths? Of course, you want the larger number, so 43 is greater than 33. In this case, the alligator would eat 43/100ths, and it would sound something like this. So as you can see, you can do this not only when you're just dealing with decimals, but also when you have whole numbers. In this case, on the backhand side, you have decimals again. Let's take a look at letter A one more time. This time I have 45/100ths compared to 66/100ths. Start your place value chart and write those numbers in the exact order that they need to be in. Fill in the holes if there are any. In this case, there are not. And ask yourself, would you rather have 66/100ths or 45/100ths? I would rather have 66. You want the greater number to be eaten by your alligator, and in this case, 66/100ths would get the marker. So when comparing decimals, all you need to do is remember the steps. Step 1, write the numbers on top of each other using a place value chart. Step 2, line up the decimals, fill in the holes with zeros. And step 3 is that fill in the zeros. And then step 4, compare the numbers. And you're good to go. We'll talk to you soon.